Hi, I'm Cesar Santos, and I'll be getting involved in this conversation, considering how important are schools in our lives, in the artist's life. Well, our schools are important for some artists, but for many artists, our school is not important at all. But for the sake of this argument, I want to talk about the two main schools of thought of today. These two types that I'll be talking about are the universities, the colleges, versus the traditional atelier. One is based on our time, one is part of the universities and the colleges. For instance, I went to the New World School of the Arts, which was part of the University of Florida in Miami. And I also graduated from the Angel Academy of Art, that is a private academy that started towards the turn of the century. And I think this grew out of the need to counterbalance, to balance the type of schooling that we are subjected to in the art establishment. In these art colleges, we are respected as artists from the beginning. Well, some are not respected at all, especially if you like more skill-based training. They know that artists are run by this artistic spirit and they have something to express. So they want to conserve that, guide you to and see if you can find your own voice with different materials. So it's all about experimentation and expressing emotions and feelings. So basically you have to develop your own process, your own voice as an artist, which is the goal of any artist of any age. But in our time of individualism, they start with it. You have to do it from the beginning. They don't give you like a format. They don't talk about the structure of the process, going in depth about color or how to see form and try to represent it from reality, from the visual world around us. So it's not about that. It's more about your voice as an individual. What do you have to offer? And then you find yourself with the teachers and the other students. They kind of guide you to find your own way of doing it. Or they can also confuse you with all the contemporary examples of renowned artists that developed in the 20th century. In the contemporary schools, also art history is mainly studied after the post-impressionist period forward. Yes, they mention classical art and everything before, but really just as stories and really pointing out specific things, but they don't go in depth into the process of artists back then. And that's normal because every age defends and holds its tradition. Our time is about keeping our time, and that is kind of like a natural law. Every state is trying to be conserved all the time. It's hard to change suddenly. This is actually called homeostasis. It's that natural resistance to change. And the other academies, the more traditional academies, are going back and trying to bring to our time a more principle-based practice of art, trying to rescue the elements, the process of past periods, and see if we can counterbalance this kind of lack of knowledge of how the visual system works and the ability to represent the world around us. In fact, many students just go into other commercial arts, graphic design, photography, fashion, even architecture, because those are the fields that develop skills. And humans love to develop skills. That is what makes us happy as humans, as species. That is what gets most people excited to go to work, is because you can see that that's what actually adds value to society. That's how you get paid, when you have these skill sets developed. But most of these fields are actually training you to work for someone else's project. It's not for you to be an individual creator. That's why I was frustrated, because I wanted to be a painter and they were not offering that. On the other hand, the ateliers are ignoring the influences of our time and is mainly based on just traditional art. But they are great in the way that they teach you how to use the materials, the charcoal, the oil paints, which is a very difficult medium to handle. They teach you a process of building a painting from start to finish, and then you can add that to your own way of painting. You can adjust it, but they will invite you to this world of mystery, of antiquity, and actually teach you a little bit more how to read paintings in the museums, how to understand the process that got lost in time. But it is too structured. It has too many measurements. It's copying too many artists, and everything is by rules and in order of stages and steps. Also, these academies are ignoring the individual artistic drive, like the temperament of each student. They don't consider that. They have a mold that the teachers learn specific pattern, a way to approach a painting, and they teach that without considering differences in people. So artists that are intuitively expressive and wanting to do stuff a certain way according to their feelings find some friction with these academies, because these academies are just teaching you and order things when in fact you as an artist want to have a more of a free spirit. The good thing about both examples are that they are opposites sides of the same thing. Both are one because they are outdated. They want to measure you. They want to put you in a certain category. And artists are always new, always in the present. Artists don't belong to these polarities. At the end of the day, we need to develop as individual artists. As long as we realize that both systems are just opposite sides of the same coin, meaning that both are teaching a way to approach art. They're not considering you in real time, developing from that specific time. Both schools are teaching traditional stuff regardless. One is more recent, based on the last 100 or so years. The other one maybe skips that and goes back. But at the end of the day, it's a mold, it's a formula. And this is great because the school's goal is to teach you, to give you knowledge about something that you already contain within that you just need to develop. For instance, I was always interested in portraiture. I was painting in my sketchbook and drawing portraiture and figures throughout my life since I was a kid. And in this contemporary college, I was not able to study that in depth because that's not what they were offering. And that's why I ended up coming to Florence to study something that would add to that seed that I needed to grow from within. But the schools come and go, information everywhere, online, in books, you mean. And if you just keep thinking that everything is a school, your whole life is a school, you even get to the school already with projects in mind and with intention to express in mind. You have to understand the difference between you and your instructor in whatever environment you are in. There is something that the school can give to everybody as students, but only the student is the one capable of opening up that membrane, that division, and absorbing something just specific to yourself as artists. Otherwise, it'll be too easy. Any school can learn the secrets and teach it, and everybody will be unique. It doesn't happen like that. So don't wait for the school to make you an artist. Know that you have that intuition to start from the beginning. And the school is important because it will give you those tools so you can have more to play with. Art is the only career that you start with being the artist, and then the environment, depending on your period and on your age, you will be submitted to whatever the norms of the times are, and they will try to teach you what they know at that time that you're developing as an artist. But that spirit of art grows in humanity throughout. It doesn't matter the time, it's timeless. Only our time is the one that limits us, that gives you the structure to fit in. It's not like doctors or lawyers or any type of technical school that can guide you through the beginning of the classes all the way to getting you a job, maybe. An artist doesn't work like that. Whether you're a dancer, a poet, an actor, musician, a painter, all these types of expressions are born within. You can see it in people's life, the way they talk, the way they express, the way they move. You have to conserve that because that's the raw material that you have to work with. It's your role to use the school. Don't let the school use you, because both types of schools want you to be a good student. That's the role of the schools, to train you in what they know best. You have to take all that and say, yes, I'll be a good student as long as I'm in school. After school, or maybe during the day, at night, always, as much as you can, have your freedom to express yourself. Break the rules, play with it, because at the end of the day, you are the one that's gonna give the school the lesson, and everybody will become their own school. Every great artist throughout history that we love started with the school and then in time developed their own school of thought. Regardless of the school you go to, feel that you are self-taught. Because at the end of the day, you have to teach yourself what the school is teaching you. It's not enough. You have to see it from your own point of view, whether you take it in an institution or from individual artists that you admire. Life is our ultimate teacher. We're all influenced by our environment, and just like organisms, artists have everything they need within their reach. Depending on where you live and the access of the schools that you have, they will indeed mold you and shape you a little bit. Your aesthetics is going to be influenced by the knowledge they give you. Just like a cup, it doesn't matter how it was made, it doesn't matter how it looks. What matters is the space inside to be empty, and the artist has to fill it up with inspiration.